And Smokey, Sherilyn, it's now 11 o'clock. This one will be an hour, no more. Again, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I want to do 11 o'clock, and they stay an hour. And so, with everything that's being said and done, I guess that I have a new handler at the police station. And, okay, I'm on. I'm hoping you guys can see me, Smokey. It's no longer Chad Butler. It used to be Chad Butler. But now Geo Farnsworth has done yet another video showing that it's Deputy Bill McDaniel. And so there's that. You know, so I have a new handler at the sheriff's office. I just want to clarify, as they're telling Smokey that he needs to call this deputy, I just want to clarify that we're talking about the same sheriff's office. The same sheriff office run by Neil Gross, who knew about all of the threats that I was getting from Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, when I moved to Erling. Had been involved in stuff that was going on, because the same sort of harassment was definitely going on in Erling before. He knew about all of the threats and all of the shit that was going on with me before. The same sheriff whose deputy they were using, Donovan, to go after me with the dogs, ended up committing suicide a week and a half before the Erling, Iowa gas station explosion. Ended up committing suicide. And a week and a half before. Saturday night, during COVID lockdown, we had been under COVID lockdown for several months. There were men across the street from that gas station on a Saturday night who were there at 3 o'clock in the morning, who ended up waking up my neighbors. Then that gas station blew up Monday morning. So there were people across the street from the gas station on Saturday, and then it blew up on Monday. Neil will argue that it's not his job to count explosions, but he knew how many explosions happened at that gas station because he was interviewed by the local news station KETV that day, as was Dan, the owner, who was able to get out of the gas station after the first explosion, then go back in, get his brother-in-law, get them both out to safety before the second explosion, 9.5 minutes later, leveled the place. So he got him out to safety. I was also interviewed. So it's not like when I talk about this gas station, it's not like I wasn't there, like I wasn't involved. I got interviewed by KETV as well. So why does the official story say that, I'm glad you got my book. I hope you enjoy it. So why does the official report say that the place filled with gas and one explosion and leveled the place, when Neil, the sheriff who runs the Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff's Department, ran it back then, runs it now? He didn't have to remember. All he had to do is recall. It wasn't like he wasn't there. It's not like he's not on video talking about it. So that sheriff's department, the same sheriff's department that Chad Butler actually followed, tailgated me from Hy-Vee all the way to Casey's when I pulled in. That sheriff. The one when this weird ass pedophile group started sending me arbitrary pictures of kids in the email. And the 911 operator that operates out of the sheriff's department told me to go to an FBI satellite office in Council Bluffs that didn't exist. That same sheriff. The same sheriff who, in town, there's all kinds of people talking about how the sheriff's department is involved with the meth operation. That same sheriff's department. They have a reason why they want to silence me. It makes me wonder, knowing how these idiots contact my sheriff's department, if this whole, I was a cocaine addict until from 18 to 35, and I'm a felon who got busted with a sawed-off shotgun. I'm actually wondering if those stupid-ass stories came from my sheriff's department. Is that where that shit originated from? You know? And so it makes me wonder, because obviously they need someone. My sheriff's department doesn't deal with me other than the email list that I send out. And there are people in here who are on that same email list. They don't seem to have a problem with it. They don't seem to feel like they're being harassed. They actually appreciate the information. But that's the only time my sheriff actually, I haven't talked to Neil in years. Actually talked to Neil. The last time I saw Neil was when I ran into him in front of Hy-Vee. And he thought I was going to make a scene, and I have no interest in talking to him. You know, I have absolutely no interest in talking to him. They're involved in a cover-up, and they're going to tell whoever they need to tell whatever stupid shit they need to tell. That's what's going to end up happening. And if you're stupid enough to actually believe it, then more power to you, I guess. But that's the sheriff's office that I know of. And Neil is very good. Do you know that I stayed in Harlan? Because at the time when I moved from Erlangen, I had set up kind of a life in Harlan, and I figured that Neil was helping me. That's why I stayed in Shelby County, you know? And so I just, call me duped. Call me duped. But I was an idiot. And they're actually obviously protecting them. Geo Farnsworth can't get it through his fucking head. I would have never considered them being part of Owen's death, except they fucking bragged about it. You know, that's the whole thing. Geo Farnsworth posted something, a video on YouTube that said that he was in Harlan. At the exact same time, Daniel Dowdis Pootie Twang was uploading live YouTube videos of my town, of Harlan. So how the fuck was he transmitting live videos of my town unless he was, no, I'm not Muslim, it's just a hat. It's just a knit hat that breathes. I'm not a Muslim. Definitely a believer and follower of Jesus Christ. But, oh, sorry, now I lost my train of thought. With the whole situation with Neil, I have actually tried to get this shit investigated. So, Pootie Twang at Daniel Dowd posts all of these live YouTube videos of my town on YouTube 6 months after the fact. After me making a big issue out of this whole thing, Neil ends up sending us a group email talking about a picture that wasn't even one that I was talking about on an account that wasn't even part of what I was doing. And said, well, if you don't have anything, but never has said anything about the live fucking YouTube videos that they posted on YouTube at the time. So, fuck the picture. What about the videos? You know? I haven't heard shit. And when he did send us a group email 6 months after the fact of Owen dying, he argued about this and told them, there's nothing, I don't see anything here, there's nothing wrong, and treated me like I was a dickhead. But there was live YouTube videos. What the fuck were they doing in my town at the time? What the fuck were they doing in my town? Obviously someone was in my town, you know? And so that's the same sheriff's department that everyone expects me to go to try and get resolution. And I just don't see it happening. You know? I don't see any resolution that can be had with the situation. But by all means, I hope someone does call. I would love to know what they're saying. I would love to know what they're saying. What they tell strangers on the phone who call them. I would love to know. You know? Because they talk to him all the time. Thomas Schoenberger seemed like he was fucking on top of Neil. Right up their ass all the time. Obviously, Geo, now I know of another handler. You know? Thanks, Geo. You know? Put him right on the email list. You know? Since he's my handler, I keep everyone else on the email list, but I just added another one. You know? No plausible deniability. Everyone's gonna see it. You know? And if they don't like my videos, tough fucking shit. You know? Tough shit. I can only imagine the shit that's going around about me around town. You know? But I can't even be brought to care. Because who cares? And not one of them has the balls to actually ask me to my face anything that they're all talking about. Not a fucking one of them. And so, how do you respect that? You know? But I'm wondering if some of that shit isn't coming from my fucking sheriff's office. That sawed-off shotgun story. My name is not Sean, let alone spelled S-H-O-N. My name is not Sean, nor has it ever been Sean. I've never had an alias named Sean, and if I ever had an alias, I wouldn't spell it so stupid. You know? And so, finding someone with the last name and then trying to make it me is just, like I said, whatever you think will work. Whatever you think will work. You know? But I just remember my mom said, good or bad. If they're talking about you, good or bad, just as long as they get your name right. And these dumbasses can't even fucking do that. Can't even fucking do that. And it's funny because people who actually watch these videos, who hear these allegations, who have actually seen my videos and actually have a sense of who I am, because it's not like I don't have a lot of videos out there. They were just like, you are so not a criminal. And no, I'm not. I don't know the lingo. I don't understand, you know. But, you know, going, well, Smokey, don't do shit that you need to be shot up or go to prison again. I'm in the Midwest. I'm in the Midwest. I'm, you know, it's just bizarre. It's just all bizarre. And obviously there's a cover-up, because the whole Earlene, Iowa gas station explosion was a domestic terrorism situation. They blew up a fucking gas station, jeopardized an entire town to get to me, who lived right across the street and maybe a quarter of a block down on the other side of the road. I know you don't, Smokey. I want to see you on the other side. There's a bunch of you that I think are going to end up on the other side, and I'll really enjoy that. You know? Yellowstone is having all kinds of issues. We're getting hit with the G4 electromagnetic storm because of the sun. Right now. It's happening. Right now. And it's causing all of these earthquakes and volcanoes. And so shit's getting ready to happen. Death is coming. You know? Death is coming. William, no, it's no problem. I'm not in Omaha, but I'm around Omaha. You know? And so I came back from Washington basically after being chased out by fucking Doug Mesner. They were making my life a living fucking hell. I came back to Iowa thinking that it would stop, and the day after I got there, Doug Mesner was sending me fucking emails about how they were already set up in my town. So I just basically figured they went, investigated, found out about the meth operation. That's why they have fucking Neil by the short and curlies. He's not going to help because he does not want to be exposed for the criminal shit he's involved with. You know? And so he's going to do whatever they fucking ask him to do. And it's all criminal. It's all criminal. They were involved with the Earling, Iowa gas station explosion. And let me just fucking point out, with that Earling, Iowa gas station explosion, it was exactly around the same fucking time as Isaac Cappy. Same fucking timing. It was what? Less than a year later? Less than a year later. I think it was 11 months later. After the Isaac Cappy thing, they blew up a fucking gas station to try and shut me up. And it was 11 months after Isaac Cappy. So, oh yeah, I bet they were focused on me when Isaac Cappy was dead, because they were afraid of me. You know? So that's just another fucking reason why the gas station happened. But as such, one explosion that levels the fucking place is different than two explosions that happened 9.5 minutes apart. Where the owner was able to get out, go back in, get his brother-in-law, get them both out before the second explosion happened. There's a fucking difference between those two. There's quite the fucking discrepancy. It's not that hard to figure out. And to say that Neil Gross doesn't fucking know, when he was on the same KETV news report that night that I was on. He knew. Dan, who was in the fucking gas station, who got out of the gas station, then went back in and got his brother-in-law and got them both out to safety before the second explosion, most definitely fucking knew. You know, people can say whatever the fuck they want, but there's something wrong with the official story compared to what happened with the truth. You know? And that is the sheriff's department that I'm dealing with. Right there. In a nutshell. You know? They're being childish, they're gone. You know the rules, Sherilyn. You know? Not playing. Not playing. If you're playing games like a kid, then we just assume you're a kid. And you're gone. That's how it's gonna work. No play. No play. I think Sherilyn is doing a stellar job. See, I have complex PTSD, so adrenaline is not something I've ever been addicted to. I have too much of it all the time anyway. The cortisol is what's fucking making me fat, you know? And so the reason why they did the gas station explosion is because they wanted to shut me up. The gas station, the Erlin, Iowa gas station explosion happened 11 months after Isaac Cappy ended up dead. They were trying to clean up their situation. And where the first explosion happened in that gas station, had that wall come down, which is I think what they were expecting, was that wall to come down, the 300 plus pound pieces of debris that shot out of the huge doors and path of least resistance, so it ended up on the other side of town, 9 blocks away in a field, 300 plus pound pieces of debris. Had that wall not come down, all of that shit would have hit my house dead on. And I lived in a huge house on a hill. There was a quarter of a block. It would have brought my house down. With me, coincidentally, naked in the shower. You know? But it didn't. Because the wall didn't come down. So the second explosion that happened 9.5 minutes later, when it leveled the place, it went path of least resistance, which were out those huge garage doors, because it wasn't just, it was a gas station, but it was basically a garage, you know? Sherilyn, when we get done with this, take a screenshot, because that means they have your number. That means they probably have your phone number, and it's probably Daniel Dad, because they're not doing it to me. You know? Screenshots. I need screenshots. Unless it's, you know, I'm okay. Okay. There's a lot going on here. And that gas station happened 11 months after Isaac Cappy. You know, they were afraid I was going to do what I've done. It just took me 4 years. You know, I came forward and started talking about Isaac and the shit that was going on with Isaac. That's the reason why they all, as an entire group, just descended upon me en masse. You know, just descended upon me en masse. The Johnny Gosch case is directly connected to my father and my brother, and the group that my father and my brother were involved with in Omaha. You know, Noreen Gosch has enough information to bust that whole situation out in a way that the very fact that she hasn't, and we're how many fucking decades later, oh yeah, she comes out and says, oh, I'm about ready to break it, but never does. But she has plenty of information to break it. She does. And the fact that she hasn't just proves my point. You know? Why is America is the reason of Middle East destruction? Please respond. I'll tell you why. Because the people who are running shit are fucking religious zealots. Only they don't worship Jesus, Muhammad, God. They like the Antichrist. And all of the shit is getting ready. They think that it's all going to start, and they want a war with heaven. And they're pretty sure that that war with heaven is going to start in the Middle East. So they've never let the Middle East go. Ever. Ever. And Americans, for the most part, we don't have a fucking thing to do with our government. Not a goddamn thing. We vote. Big fucking deal. We have no power. I think that's what people are starting to realize with this whole thing now. is that opening your heart and following Jesus Christ, filling your hearts with love right now is fundamental. It is the most important thing. We vote for the lesser of two evils that both suck. Usually everyone sucks. You know? Which oligarchy are you voting for? Because that's basically, they're all in the pocket of big money. And so I just think that America as a whole has an awful karma to pay, because we and our little CIA has done a lot of destructive shit all around the world. And from my experience, it's been hand in hand with the Catholic Church. You know, two organizations that absolutely love power and will do anything they can to hold on to theirs. In fact, they'll burn it the fuck down rather than lose control of it. And that's what we're starting to see, is that they'll burn the fucking whole thing down before they lose control of it. And so but it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. And you know, I'm watching videos of people who are not connected to the mass media, who are in LA, and they're saying LA is not on fire. You know, it's all being propagated, you know? And why? Because they want to turn us away. But notice how all of the shit that's happening in LA, now no one's talking about Epstein anymore. It's funny how that all worked, you know? But it's not going to go away. You're not going to go away. I'm Muslim and love Jesus. Peace be with you. Peace be with you too. And thank you. You know, thank you. I think we all need to stop focusing on each other's differences and start realizing whether or not we have our hearts filled with enough love. You know? Because in the end, there are individual consequences for each of us as individuals if we do not have our hearts filled with love. And I'm just... Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, as far as the weapons go. You know? My view is not popular. But we all taste like chicken to bears. Ain't that the truth? To be quite honest, I would love to get out of here. I would love to move away from here. And I just am praying for it. When I pray today, I'm going to pray for it just so that people can give prayers, because it's sad, because these assholes took a blessing from heaven, a blessing from God, and sullied it. You know? I love my house, don't get me wrong. It was a blessing from God. It was just so perfect in so many ways. But they've gone out of their way to try and destroy it. To be quite honest, I think they've been even since I've changed the lock. I don't think it stopped them at all, which I knew it wouldn't stop them for long. Everything I do, they just work around. You know? And they fucking dance around. I don't know how they fucking do it. If I knew how they did it, I would make it stop. It's not like my cameras don't work. It's not like my cameras don't work. I catch shit all the time on those cameras. So whatever they have is doing something. But I would just like to move. I don't want to be near an apartment and rental houses. And, you know, will they follow me? Yeah, probably. But still, fuck it, you know? I'm going to pray. This one's going to be a short one. I just want it to be clear. All excuse me. All I am looking for in this area is for Neil Gross, Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross, to do the fucking job he was elected to do by the people. That's what I want to fucking see happen. And if that makes me a dickhead or a bad guy, they can say whatever the fuck they want. You know, I'm not a fucking pedophile. You're not gonna make me run because a bunch of fucking child traffickers are trying to convince people. And it's stupid. I have no history. I'm 58 years old. But that's what Mesner has tried to run with for fucking decades. You know? And it doesn't work. I'm not afraid, because I'm not. Any more than I'm a felon who went to jail for a sawed-off shotgun. I didn't even fucking know what that was. I'm not a coke addict. You know? You're not gonna make me run. Oh my God, I need to hide. They said I'm a coke addict. I'm not a fucking coke addict. What's next? Am I a fucking purple spotted fucking unicorn? Am I supposed to go run from that? You know? Maybe I'm a fucking alien from another fucking planet. And I'm here to abduct people. Should I run away from that too? Because the fucking stories, I'm not Jeff Gannon either, and I'm not Johnny Gosh. That also comes up. That I'm Johnny Gosh. I'm not fucking Johnny Gosh. But the stupid shit, I'm not running, the tail is not gonna chase the dog. I'm not doing it. And I think it's fucking stupid. And I'm not gonna run from the shit because I just don't give a shit. It's not true. Why would I care? You know? With a bunch of people who don't have, Johnny Gosh is the first, he was one of the first kids that ever ended up on a milk cart. He was he was one of 3 boys abducted in West Des Moines. But we only talk about Johnny Gosh. We don't talk about the other 2. You know? No trolls. That's nice. Notice how my phone isn't overheating. The numbers are kind of normal. You know? Jesus Christ, all of heaven knows that I'm going to fight this until the end. And I'm not just going to go run away. And I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them, and I'm not going to go. Thank you, Eugene Martin and Mark Allen. No one ever talks about the other 2. You know? And it was all connected to Omaha and the shit that was involved with my family. You know? My dad and my stepmom were 2 very bad people. 2 very bad people. And I'm tired of it all being protected and brushed under the rug. I'm tired of having to deal with sheriffs who are corrupt, who are fucking involved in a meth operation, and everyone in town around here knows about it. They all talk about it. But for me to do anything about it makes me the bad guy. That's how it works. I'm the bad guy because now I'm trying to expose it. But I think that is what they have. That's why I think they have the Neil Gross by the Short and Curlies. Because they know all about the fucking meth operation. And so he'll do whatever they need him to do. Because I bet they have it over his head. Just like he had shit over Donovan's head. God only knows what they were trying to get that dude to do to me. But instead of doing what they wanted him to do to me, he chose suicide. A week and a half before all that shit. And if it was just that wouldn't be anything. But all the stuff that I'm explaining, for all of this shit to happen, just as a fluke, just coincidence of the shit that I've just explained in my life in the last 35 minutes, for that to happen, statistically happen coincidentally, the numbers are astronomical. It just wouldn't happen to one person had there not been a concerted effort. And as far as the Earling, Iowa gas station happening after 11 months after they murdered Isaac Cappy, let me just point out, you can go back to this YouTube I only started opening up comments and started talking about Isaac Cappy 2 years ago. And these motherfuckers descended upon me immediately and haven't gone away. And I've shown all of it. You know? DavidShurter.com. Go read the shit. Because most of it is just fucking screenshots of their own shit. That's why they don't like me. You know? It's all connected. And it's all connected because of this child trafficking bullshit that needs to be fucking exposed. It needs to be exposed. You can call me a fucking pedophile all you want, just as long as you fucking investigate this child trafficking operation. That's all I fucking ask for. You know? And what sense would it make if I was a fucking pedophile? Wouldn't I be caught up in this fucking pedophile operation? Then I'd be afraid, wouldn't I? I just want this fucking thing investigated. I keep saying the same fucking names over and over and over, and they're names that are connected with all kinds of shit. You know? Isaac Cappy and me and Nathan Stolman are just 3 of a whole fucking slew of names this group is connected to, and a lot of dead people who all seem to want to commit suicide. But yeah, this group sucks so bad, you know, I guess that makes sense. You know, you get together with this group and fuck, they just suck the whole life out of you. And who am I talking about? Who's all connected? Thomas Schoenberger, Corey Daniel, Phoenix Enigma, Corey Daniel, Geo Farnsworth, Daniel Dowd, Gabe Hoffman, Craig Sawyer, Ron Patton, Russ Dizdar, but he's now dead, Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, and their Satanic Temple after school daycare bullshit that's targeting the kids. It's all the same fucking group. I just say the same names over and over and over. Over and over and over. Michael Aquino. I don't believe that Michael Aquino is dead. That's just me. Considering the fact that we're all expected to believe that he committed suicide twice, I think is stupid. And I think that the fact that I was told that Michael Aquino had committed suicide at the exact same time my sister Kathy was telling everybody that our stepmother was dead. You know? Same time period. And then after that, 3 years later, after I run into my fucking stepmother and realize, oh, she's not dead. So then I run into her, realize she's not dead, and then all of a sudden Michael Aquino has committed suicide once again. 3 years later. You know? Again, statistically speaking, how is that possible? But whatever, you know? He didn't die twice. I think he's still alive. I just do. That's just me. You know? Yes, because if you believe the official story about Michael Aquino, he kills himself, then he, resurrects himself? And then 3 years later, he decides he made the right choice the first time, and he kills himself again. And that is supposed to make sense. Their stupid shit, it's like, okay, this whole group, they basically just has a revolving door with my sheriff, obviously. Thomas Schoenberger just brags about being fucking in touch with Neil Gross all the time and how great they are. Geo Farnsworth just posted a video just in the last 24 hours. That's how I found out about this Bill McDaniel, you know, who's now my new Shelby County Sheriff Deputy handler person, Bill McDaniel. And so I appreciate it. It's good to know who I need to send my shit to. You know, I was very appreciative of it. Of course, what they're trying to do is target Smokey. But even if Smokey came at you guys and fucking threatened to use alien laser beams to cut you all down in your prime, and then time travel back and then do it all over again? What does that have anything to do with me? Smokey's his own individual. I don't have control over Smokey any more than I have control over any of these people. That includes Sherilyn, who helps me. I have no control over her either. I'll suggest stuff, I'll give my opinion, but in the end, all of us are people that are going to just do whatever the fuck we feel we need to do. You know? I know Smokey's not going to be stupid because he knows vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He ain't going to fucking do anything stupid. But on the other hand, if he's pushed, you know, go ahead and murder one of us. I don't want to see what happens if that happens. You know, I just don't want to see. I don't want to see anybody. I want everyone to stop ending up dead. I'm tired of everyone ending up dead. I've had a lot of it. You know, Owen was the last person that I'm going to deal with who ended up dead. And I would have never even known that Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth were part of it, except they fucking bragged about it. Now they brag about it. Now I'm calling them out on it, and suddenly they're butthurt and they're victims. But they went out of their way to make sure that I thought that I knew that they had something to do with Owen. Or at least think it. And they can run with the sheriff all they want. Fucking Neil Gross is going to lie and say any stupid shit that he can even think of to gravitate the shit off of himself. You know? That's how it's going to work. You know? That's what he's done thus far. And a bunch of people who fucking are so controlled by their cognitive dissonance that they want to believe the bullshit, that's on them. Let them go talk. You know, let them go talk. That's really all there is to do around here. And they'll all tell you how they don't fucking gossip, but let me tell you another story about so-and-so and such and such. They all fucking talk shit. And who gives a fuck? You know? A bunch of dumbasses running around spouting fucking opinions when they don't have the first fucking clue. You know? I know, Smokey. You're like a lot of people, you know? You've taught me a lot about a world that I was not even involved with. What's the biggest advice you want to give to the young guys about friends? Use your own fucking discernment. If it seems stupid, no matter how many fucking people are doing it, and it seems stupid, then don't fucking do it. If it seems evil, nasty, dark, awful, and it makes you uncomfortable, don't do it. That's how it works. And if that's what your friends are getting you to do, then you need a whole new choice of friends. That's what I would say. Be your own best friend. That's exactly what I would say. You know? But you know, I respect the friends that I have in my life. And I know they respect me. And so, you know, if you don't respect yourself, no one's going to respect you. You know? My advice is to buy closet locks. Saki says she just wrestled a roll of toilet paper from a 2-year-old. My advice is to buy closet locks. Kids, stress, relationships. Shit, if I could tell people anything, leave the lines of communication open, but make sure that you spend as much time shutting your mouth and listening as talking. But make sure that that's even on all parts. And, you know, I think that we've lost the whole ability to communicate. But I'm the last person you want to get relationship advice from. I was probably the first divorce in Iowa, and I'm not kidding. That's not an exaggeration. I think it was between my ex and I and some lesbian couple on the other side of the state. I don't know who won, but I know I was one of two. You know, saying amen. Faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. And we're not supposed to run around and get exaltations for everything that we do. That's why it says, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. Don't go do shit and then parade around and, you know, just be nice for the fucking sake of being nice. Care for someone, you know, and saying that you believe in Jesus Christ and all of that sounds good, but unless you're living that belief, it won't make any difference. You got watermelons in your garden. That's nice. I'm going to have cucumbers and I'm going to have butternut squash. I grew food. I was going to grow flowers. Childish troll. Again, everyone be warned. Don't play. I got to pray. I haven't prayed, and I'm 46, and this has to be an hour. It has to stop at noon. And so I would love a watermelon from someone's garden. You know? I have peppers growing and tomatoes in 6 things. I don't know if you can see them right there. Those are my tomatoes and my peppers. And I built those. 2 raised gardens. Holds 3 5-gallon pails a piece. So I can put 3 in. So I get 3 tomato plants and 3 pepper plants every year. But I have a raised garden that's over here. You can't see that, but I have a raised garden that's over here that was here with the house. And I've always wanted to put flowers in it, but have never had the money to actually put flowers. So this year I was just like, well, fuck it. I'm going to plant cucumbers and acorn squash. I love both. And so, and pretty soon here, I'll be able to start eating out of my own garden because vegetables. Because money is tight. End of the month blues. I'm already there. Fucking starving. It sucks. Taking donations, PayPal, Venmo is Shurter. If you want a book, if you're in the US, they're $30. Tell me where I'm sending it and who I'm inscribing it to. If it's out of the country, get a hold of me because I have to look and see how much it costs. To get over to Europe, it's about $30. To go to Australia, it's $40. And so, but I want to eat, I want to pray. Heaven, we come to you as your children. Things are crazy. We're told that after we find enlightenment and grace that we just need, first we need to carry water and sticks, and afterwards carry water and sticks. We just have to keep tallying on. And that's what we're all trying to do. Help us to support each other, give each other faith, you know, keep each other strong at this time so that we're able to go out and influence other people because we plant seeds. You just never know. Being a kind and decent person, how that's going to affect someone and how that effect is going to affect others down the road. We can't see, a lot of times we can't see the true essence of your work in our own deeds. But let our deeds rise to the occasion. You know, work miracles through us as us, and let us help make each other's lives better for just being in our, you know, for each of us being in each other's lives. And we say these things in your Son's name, who came down, taught us about grace, lived the word in a way that was undeniable, and we are grateful for that. And we say these things in your Son's name, our brother, Jesus Christ. Amen. I love vegetables. So I'll stay on here for another 9 minutes. But it has to end at noon. I don't know if Isaac and Diddy partied together. But Isaac lived a life, the likes of which, that's the reason why I never really asked Isaac about his life. Because his life to me seemed overwhelming. Hanging out with all of those people in Hollywood and just, it seemed surreal. D. Shurter is PayPal and Venmo. DavidShurter.com for his blog. For my blog, sorry, not to speak in third person. And dshurtermod at gmail.com. If you have questions, comments, things that you want me to, someone sent me a question. Do I think that Trump is involved, and do I think he's against child trafficking? Yes, I'm sure he's involved. His dad was way too involved for him not to be involved. And is he involved with child trafficking? Yes. The whole situation with Epstein. To turn away from that and deny what it is, what's right in front of us, you're choosing to be ignorant. It's obvious that there was shit going down, and his contacts with Epstein and all of that. I have supporters, not fans. I have people who support me, but I don't really, not looking for fans. Looking for people who have the brain power to actually take what I'm saying and have a discernment to where maybe I should look into this. Not take what I'm saying as gospel either. I want all of it to be investigated. And that's all I'm asking. It is hot. Oh my God, it's supposed to be like 80 something degrees. It's 90 degrees in this room where I'm at. It's hot. That's kind of why I'm wearing this hat, because it's a great sweat catcher. If I'm going to sweat, at least it's in a knit hat. I would love to get one of these in white, and I would love to get one of these in yellow. I found one that's black. But right now, if you donate, I'm just warning you guys, a lot of it's going to go for food. And my blog is, I have to, I'll be selling stuff. I'm going to be working on art project. I'm now in the process, cutting material out so I can make some more bags, try and get some bags sold. And, because I just have bills that are coming up. And living on a little over $900 a month sucks. It's not easy. It's not easy. And so, Sherilyn is not someone to play with. She's not someone to play with. Yes, I've been to Bohemian Grove. I have bags. This is... Right now, this isn't a bag. This is... I made this for my machine cover holder. But I'm making shit like this in bags right now, with all kinds of jeans and different material to actually see about selling some bags. I don't think they're anything that a guy would want, but I think that women might dig them. And so I'm going to, make bags so I can sell them. So now I'm in the process of cutting out material. That's, that's why 5 minutes. Sherilyn keeps me on this. 5 minutes. So I think I'm going to get off here. And the thing about bags is, if you get a hold of me, I mean, it's a little bit more for me to actually work with you, but I can actually usually find good stuff. If I know what people are interested in, I can make bags focused on that. I'm making a bag right now that's focused on birds and flowers and yellows, oranges, and stuff like that. It was for someone who wanted one specifically. And they went out and bought embroidered jeans online that they sent to me that I'm able to cut up and incorporate into their bag. So if you're looking on eBay and you find something that's embroidered that you think would make a cool bag, you know, send an email, you know. It was a great live. No trolls. It was really nice. I'm going to get off here quick. That way I can call Sharon just really fast. So I'm going to just end this a little bit earlier. And this has been great. As always, you guys are wonderful. And Sherilyn, you just, you know, get rid of the Satanist, dude. I'll stay on here for just a second. I'm not playing with Satanists. I'm not playing with any of that bullshit. I'm just not. I'm not playing with it. You know? And it's my venue. It's my station. So I think that I can actually make those... I can have that discernment and not feel bad about it. You want to go deal with that shit, go someplace else. Alright, with that said, thanks guys.